gentlemen, and welcome to a new section. All right. Um, last week was quite very amazing. All right, and I know some of you learned a lot. All right, so I'm going to do a recap, then we move to our next section. And I hope you did the assignment, right? Because I had told you to um, calculate your network, all right? Check your network. And anyway, after now, we gonna go into that, right? I hope you still remember what we are discussing, right? And what we are discussing very simple. There are 7 steps to break out of poverty mindset. Okay, and build wealth. So 7 steps to break out of poverty mindsets and build wealth. So that's what we started last in our last section. So all right, so I talked about a lot of stuff last week. So just for a recap, for some of you who are just joining us today, so very expedient, right? So number one, we talked about, if you can recall vividly, is changing your belief system. I talked about changing your belief system. All right, that's change your belief system, changing how you think about money. About money. All right. Then I also talked on educate yourself. Educate yourself ruthlessly. That's without pity. Then we ended up talking about what? Somebody, can you remind me? Yes, we ended up talking about replacing consumer, replacing consumer habits. Okay, with what? With investor habits. Yeah, investor habits. All right. So I'm just gonna do a recap on this. All right. So if you were in the class, I know you learned a lot on this. So when we talked about changing your belief system about money, is about you changing how you see money. All right. So I talked about the poor man. All right. The poverty kind of mindset is here is a man that feels money is everything. All right. A man that feels that um, to be wealthy is just to have money in my pocket. And I told you last week that the truth is, a man might have money in his pocket, but might not really be wealthy. So poverty is first of all a thing of the mind. The same thing with wealth. Wealth creation is actually a thing of the mind. So your mind must be renewed, if I must say. Yes, your belief system must be reoriented. All right. I gave an example that if someone is being given an amount of money, let's say, if a poor person is being given 2 million naira, something is going to happen. Come back 6 months. Oh no, 6 months is even too long. Come back 1 month or 2 months, you will see that that money that was given to him will go. Why? Because there's a kind of mindset you need to have, yes, to build wealth. Yes. A lot of people say money has wings and they fly. So there's a kind of mindset you must have. You must eliminate this poverty mindset that you have. I told us last week that the poor works for money. So the poor exchange his time for money. All right? But there is something the wealthy do. The wealthy exchange his time for ideas. He exchanges time for um, for system. So the world is built system. And I told you one of the things very important for you to build wealth is you must change the way you think, because wealth is first of all in the mind. And guess what? This applies with God also. Before God releases anything for a man, the man must first of all see it. Yes. That is why in the beginning, that's in Genesis, something happened there that God always took Abraham to a place where he showed him a lot of stuff. So there were a lot of prophecies that God made to this man called Abraham, but at the point he needed the man Abraham to see. That is why at many occasions he will tell him, can you see the stars in the heavens? Can you see this and this and that? And so all of this little stuff he was trying to do is he needed the man to see it. So your mind is important. Your mind plays a role if you want to shift from a poor level to a wealthy level. Yeah, your mind plays a key role, and that's very important. So, if you want to know more about this, come on, go to our the past sections. All right, is on the platform. Then you're gonna learn so much. Then I talked about educating yourself. Depending on the field you are in, you must know the nitty-gritty about that particular field. You must know everything about that field. Yes, that's it. That's it. Because if you're not a master in that field you portray, you can't offer value. And one of the things that brings money to a man is value. Yeah. The more a man is valuable in a particular field, the more the man has knowledge in a particular field, something happened, there is result. All right. So that is why you need to educate yourself. All right. So, for example, talking about the real estate industry, you must know typically everything about real estate. All right. The laws, the titles, every single thing that pass across that particular field. All right. Then I also talked about replacing consumer habits with investor habits. All right. So this is the kind of mindset the poor man has. The poor man feels, I want to look rich now. All right. So when money comes into his hands, the next thing he thinks about is, what can I buy for myself? All right. Probably for a while there was no money and money just came in. The first thing that comes into his mind is, what can I do with money? So he goes, change his wardrobe, all right? And before you know it, he goes, eats the meal he has never eaten before. So at the long run, he will enjoy for what he has not been able to enjoy for a while. And the next thing he sees is that the money that was in his hands has vanished. Now, is it wrong to enjoy? No, it's not wrong. But guess what? There should be a principle behind all of this. Yes. Because wealth is built. See, with God, you don't blow, you grow. Yes. And guess what? If you want that particular industry you are in, if you want real estate to work for you, you must grow. Yes, you must grow. And that's very, very paramount. So you need to have that a investor habit. Yeah, not always consuming. There are people, when money comes into their hands, like I said, they just go and they consume. They spend a lot of stuff. There's a young man of 25 years out there, and his plan is, the moment 5 million entered his hands, the next thing he will do is get a car. Or the moment 20 million enters, is to get this. And guess what? At the long run, the stuff is gone, the money is gone. That's it. See, we have a lot of people out there that money came in, and before you know it, the money is gone. Yes, gone. Why? They didn't have the word kind of mindset. They didn't know how to grow the money. All right. So that's very, very important. So I'm going to be talking further about some other aspect. All right. Still on this. So number 14 I'm going to talk about is developing a high income skill. which I think I talked about it a little bit in my last section. Developing a high income skill. All right, now, there's something you must come to understand. Um, Having a skill that generates money for you is good, is amazing. But guess what? If you want to leave the poverty level and be stable as a person, you must start thinking on high paying skill. There was an advice I gave you last time. I hope you remember. I said, think only high paying skill. Do you know why? Now, let me show you. Low, low paying skill equal what? Low cash, which leads to financial struggle. That's it. See, the more you earn low, it will lead to low cash. What I mean is that, let's assume, the last time we gave an example of somebody who was working in a police station, an example of some, okay, let's take an example now of somebody who is working somewhere in a company and is being paid 100,000, right? You will find out that his expenses for the month will be more than 100,000, or probably around 50 to 70,000. And at the long run, he's left with barely nothing. You get what I'm saying? And that's a problem because he can scale to the next level. That is why he always finds himself struggling. You get what I'm saying? Okay, now I ask you to check your network. All right. So let's give an example. Let's check somebody's network now. All right, and see something. So I told you one of the things you need to know about network is asset versus liability. So you need to check your net worth. I told you is equal to what? Your total assets minus your liabilities. So what is asset? Asset are um, things you have that brings money to you, or things you have that you can exchange for money when it's sold, right? Then liabilities are things that takes away money from you. So let's take an example. This is a man called man A. All right, man M. All right, let's say M. And Mr. M, all right, Mr. M has for asset Mr. M asset and Mr. M liabilities. Okay, an example. Mr. M's asset. Mr. M has, let's say, 1 million naira in his account. That's bank account. He has 1 million naira, all right, in his account. That's cash. Then what else again? What other asset this guy has? Okay, let's say every month he makes every month he makes 50, let's say 100,000. So monthly, that's salary 100K, all right. Then any other stuff that he has. I think let's assume this is what he has. This is Mr. AM assets, all right. He just has 1 million in his account. He earns 100,000 monthly, and that's it, all right. That's his asset. Then last, okay, his clothes. Let's say the his wears, all right. Wears, let's say shoes and all of that will be worth, let's say, uh, let's say 200,000, right? So this is everything he has is 1.3 M, all right? Then his liability, that's liability and stuff that takes something out of him, all right? So this Mr. This Mr. M has a car, all right? He has a car. Then the car, the car actually here could be a liability. So, depending on your stand, I mean, depending on the 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 money that comes in to you, you might determine whether a car is an asset for you or a liability. But let's check here. This guy has a car, and the car consumes, let's say, 10,000 fuel every day. 10,000 fuel for logistics and all of that. So in a month, the car consumes, that's 10,000 times what? Times 30. So that's 300K. So what it means is this guy spends 300,000 that's on his car, all right? That's fueling, all right? Then probably little maintenance once in a while, let's say 100,000, all right? Then this guy, his house rent, all right? Rent. He live in an apartment where, let's say, a house, two-bedroom apartment, rent from 900 to 1 million. So let's say 950,000. Or let's say round number 1 million. That is the apartment, right? Then feeding, that's food. Because they can't do without food, all right? So food, let's say in a month you spend close to, let's say 500,000, all right? 500K and miscellaneous and a lot of other stuffs. Then which other things that takes money away from him? Okay, this guy has a girlfriend, all right? He's not married, he has a girlfriend, and every month at least he gives the girl, um, let's say, not every month actually, let's say weekly, 50,000. So in a month he might spend, let's say, 150,000 on the girl, right? But this is someone that once in a while money comes. So when you check all of this, you find out that this is 300,000, 400,000, 1.4 million plus 500,000, that's 1.9 million plus 100, that's 2 million. So this is already 2.15 M, right? So 2,050,000. Let's approximate it to 2 million, right? So these are the expenses, daily expenses that he must do, all right? And when you find out, you will see this is amounting to 2.2 million off, all right? Then this guy's asset at this present time in his account he has 1 million, salary 100,000, whereas everything, watches, shoes, could be around 200,000. So one of the things you will find out is this guy's net worth. Let's check his net worth. His net worth is equal to 1.3 million minus 2M. So his net worth is minus 700K. So what it means is that this guy is owing. This guy, see his net worth, minus 700K. So what it means is that this guy is the type of guy that will keep working, and as he keep working, as money comes, he will find out that he will not know where the money is going. Why? He prioritizes liabilities than assets. So for this type of person, a car is a liability for him. Yeah, is a liability for him because he spent over 400,000 a month on that same stuff. All right, then okay, the rent is yearly, so that's my problem. The food also could be a little problem. Then the girlfriend, another issue. So can you see that there's a problem here? Now, I know you must have done that, check your net worth. Then, after checking, you should be conscientious and ponder why it's so. Are you getting what I'm saying? So, this is very important. So, let's assume that the skill this person has was just a common skill, probably um, a low kind of skill, a low paying skill. That's why he has an issue. Not only that issue, that's his issue. Another issue he has is he has a poverty mindset. He prioritizes some stuffs that shouldn't be at his level. Are you getting it? So, what should you do on developing high income skill? You need to think high income. And the last time I talked on example of high income skill, example, I talked about tech. All right? Yeah, tech where just getting a job, let's say work for one person monthly, let's say in a month you just get like one person. One person gives you like, let's say 300,000. So if they can be five, that's 1.5 million. All right? So tech is a good one. Another one I talk is real estate. All right? So real estate goes also. All right? So you get somebody who can pay for property, a prospect who is ready to pay for property, and he wants to pay 3 plots of land, and the plot is 3 million. So 3 times three, that's 9 million. So he pays for that property for 9 million, and you as the agent is making 10%. So that's barely 900,000. That for one person you get in a month. So if you push harder and you get let's say 5% in a month, that's 900,000 times 5. And you know what is it? That's 4.5 million. All right? So now listen to me. I don't want to get you confused now. I want you to understand something. All right? Remember, the aim is to build a wealth kind of mindset. So I'm trying to say one of the things you need after knowing uh, how the wealthy thinks is you must get yourself a high paying skill. And my advice is think real estate. Yes. Listen, the real estate industry is a massive industry. Listen, a lot of people are making hundreds of millions monthly, hundreds of thousands of dollars weekly. A lot of people are making serious sales. So that is why you need to begin to think real estate. Yeah, high paying skill. Listen, I found out something. The time you would use to put in the low paying skill is actually the same time you put in the high paying skill. Because every of these skills, let's say carpentry or messing work, or let's say barbing or any of these low income skills, you find out that before you perfect it, you must give it, let's say, 1 to 2 years to master it. All right? Guess what? That's the same thing with this high paying skill. Before you master real estate, you must give it time. That's why I talked about education. Yes. You must be mean to yourself. You must go down and know everything you need to know. That's it. And one of the things I told you about building wealth, wealth takes time. So you need the right kind of knowledge to build wealth. I used to give this illustration. Now, if a poor man sits with a wealthy man, you will see the highest the poor man would ask the wealthy is 50,000 or little money so that he can eat. All right? But you will find out something. When somebody has wealth or when somebody is endowed with knowledge and value, one of the things that will happen is the person seated close to that wealthy person will want to give value because he understands that value is a magnet to money. So what we do in the real estate industry is that we give value to people. We help people build their dreams. Yes. We have a lot of people there who are longing to have properties. They have the finances and they want to probably build wealth. They want to multiply their funds. So what we do is we tell them avenues where they can multiply their funds through real estate. All right? So by showing them the map, all right, to wealth building, they are so much excited and they give you their money for free. That's it. I get what I'm saying. So that's very expedient. Listen to me. Don't think anything else about high income scheme. Yes. And you're going to see that. Now, if somebody has a low paying skill and every day keeps making sales, let's say 5,000, 10,000 and thereabout, in a year, the highest he would make, that's 10,000 a day times 365. The highest he would make is how much? 3 point something. But guess what? Anyone who thinks high income skill, in a year, he can make over hundreds of millions. That's the advantage of thinking high paying skill. Listen, the only way you can survive and build a generational wealth is when you start thinking high income scheme. All right? So the next thing I'm going to be talking about 5 is you need to surround yourself, all right, with wealth builders. All right? You need to surround yourself with wealth builders. So on this, one of the things I'm going to advise you is make it a point of duty that every day you spend 1 hour meditating, all right? 1 hour thinking or brooding over that high paying skill you have engaged into. Give it time, 1 hour every day, and you see it's going to produce fruit. Then the next point is surround yourself with wealth builders. What I mean is, now, if you see 5 fools walking, the 6th fool in their midst is like them. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. When you see 4 persons walking in the direction of wealth, you will find out that every one of them will achieve their goals. Why? Because they have the right kind of mindset. So your association actually depicts the kind of person you would be, or the kind of way you're gonna end. That's it. So that is why your association is paramount. The people you spend your time with is important. Listen to me. Every person who engages in low paying skill, you will find out that the people around him or around the person will be thinking as the same. That's it. That's because that's the law of associations. Anyone you associate yourself often will depict the kind of person you are at the long run. That's the truth. All right? So you need to surround yourself as a person who wants to build wealth. You need to surround yourself with wealth builders, with thinkers, with investors, with people who are possibilitarians. Yes, I'm a possibilitarian. So with people who sees possibilities. All right? Do you know there's a kind of set of persons that you will associate with, and everything they think is impossible. There are people who have that kind of mindset. When you tell them some things, they tell you, no, it's not possible. You tell them this one, no, it's not possible. So these are kind of person that does not feel things are possible. And these are people that are limited. Listen, one of the things you need to help yourself do is you need to help yourself go out of limitations. Yes. Because anything your mind cannot conceive, you can't get it. That's it. If your mind cannot contain, or if your mind cannot conceive $1 billion, in your account, you can't get it. You cannot forget about it. Forget about it. Yes. You need to associate yourself with people who think in talk numbers. Yes. You need to have friends who tell you, oh, my plan this year, before the end of this year, I'm making 8 billion naira. Or I'm making $5 million. That's the kind of people you need to associate yourself, because the more you associate yourself with those kind of persons, your thinking ability changes. The way you think, you begin to see possibilities. That's it. If you associate yourself with possibilitarian, you also think positive. A man said behind the word impossible is the word I am possible. And guess what? That's the gospel truth. That's the truth. Yeah. That's impossible. So the truth is, possibility only exists in the mind. And that's your problem. Your problem is you keep seeing things, you keep walking as if things are not possible. You limit your mind to tap into resources. There are a lot of resources you can get. There are a lot of things you can take advantage of in this generation, in this 21st century. A lot of opportunities are out there, but your mind can also stop you. Yes. That is why you need to break out. And how do you break out? You break out by the kind of associations, the kind of people you associate yourself with. That's the truth. So one assignment you need to do, and one assignment I'm giving is you need to check the people around you. Now, listen to me. Your network is actually your network. Yes. You need to check yourself. Who are the people seen around you? What's their what? Do you have poor people around you? Or do you have people who have the mindset? Listen, to be poor or to be wealthy does not mean that this person has 100 billion in his account. No. It's the way the person thinks. Listen, by merely seeing how a person thinks, you will know where that person is going. Yes. That is why a lady, who is being wooed into a relationship, if a lady sees the vision of a man, something is going to happen. She will follow the man, not because he has money, but because of the vision. That's it. Because the vision is for an appointed time, and the vision will result to wealth sooner or later. And I told you, one of the things you need to know about wealth creation is a gradual process. You need to know that there is a need for patience also. Yes. You need to give it time and patience. And before you know it, it will blossom and give you what you belonging to have. Yes. So what the wealthy does is they buy up assets that can make them turn rich and more rich, for tomorrow. That's what they do. But the poor, what they do is they want to eat now and satisfy their belly now, and that's not good. Are you with me, somebody? So your association is paramount. Somebody say after me, my association is paramount. Come on, say it again. My association is paramount. So what it means is that you need to associate yourself with people that are thinkers, mentors. A man who wants to go far looks for someone who is doing what he wants to do. Because guess what? There is no new thing under the sun. So that adventure, that thing, or that industry you want to go, there are people who have gone ahead of you. So the first thing you do to yourself is follow those people who have gone ahead of you. And guess what? You're going to run faster. So your associations is very important. If you associate yourself with millionaires, you are the next millionaire in their midst. Yes. You might be in your seed form, but guess what? Sooner or later, you will blossom. And it will be very amazing. All right? So the sixth thing I want to talk about is think long term and build legacy. Are you with me? See, after me, think long term and build what? Legacy. Now, this is the problem a lot of people are having. Yes, this is a problem a lot of young people are having. Why? Because they want it now. See, a man who wants to step into wealth with real estate must think long term. Yes. For example, there are people who engage in real estate and they start with land banking and they get a property. All right, let's say they get a property for 3 million, and at the long run, they want to sell the property 2 months after, and they're able to sell the property, let's say, for 4 million. That's amazing. But guess what? The sweetness in the real estate industry is withholding. Yes, somebody say holding. Yes. The sweetness about land banking and land wealth in real estate is withholding. Because along the line, those people who buy properties and flip it immediately after 2, 3, 5 months or 6 months will have an issue. Anyway, they won't have an issue because they might buy it 3 million and sell it 4 million. But the problem is they will not benefit of the real wealth in that um, real estate. How do I mean? That property, assuming they had allowed that property to stay, let's say 2 years, or probably let's say 3 years or so, you will find out that that property they sold for just a little profit, they could have made times 5 or times 10 of that property. That's it. You know, some months back, I was talking to someone who is in his, let's say, 50s, 60s, yeah, 60s, and he made a point. He said back then there there were people selling properties around him, and he was a young man, and he said then properties were sold at 35,000. That's naira, 35,000 naira then, and right now, fast forward so many years after, the place where he stays, that's an environment that was worth 35,000 is worth over 150 million. That's it. That's the power of waiting. That's the power of holding. That's it. So, very expedient, you must think long term and you must build legacy. You know, one of the things you need to know about building wealth is integrity. Yes, you must build legacy and integrity. So when it comes to the real estate industry, as an agent or a broker who is talking real estate and getting prospects to get properties, one of the things you need to know is you need to build integrity. All right, because people will not just buy from you because you have a landed property to sell. No, people will buy from you because they can trust you. Anyone who can trust you can entrust his money in you. So one of the things you need to work hard to get is trust. Yes, that's one of the things that will make you sell faster in the real estate industry. You must build trust. Listen to me. Your advantage as a realtor is not making sales now. In as much as making sales is good, but it's not making sales now. Your biggest advantage is you wanting to please, your prospect. So you bringing him to the point where his satisfaction is achieved. All right? Somebody is looking for a specification, a particular kind of property, and you give him the specification he wants. You ensure that everything is in order. You ensure that there's no breaching of any contract. You ensure that every documentation is at his peak. You ensure that that property he wants to get is assured. Are you getting it? By doing that, you are um, giving him what he wants. What it means is that anytime you give to somebody what he wants, he exchanges that stuff for money. That's value. So you must stand your ground to be valuable in every of your transactions. Stand yourself to be valuable. Not joining people that just wants the money now. And because they want the money now, they will do everything whatsoever to get the money. And that is wrong. No. You must learn how to build legacy. Think long term. That's how people grow wealth. Yes. Because a person who you treated with a high level of integrity will get more persons to you. So one satisfied prospect will get you 4 other prospects and you make more money. But one unsatisfied person will spoil sales for you. Are you getting what I'm saying? That's why it's expedient you think long term. So what it means, you think about patience. All right. So number 7 I'm going to talk about is, as a man who wants to build wealth, you must start small. All right. Yeah, you must start small and smart. Yes. What do I mean by starting small and smart? All right. One of the things you need to know is, as you think long term, you are building legacy. All right. Yes. As you're building, is a legacy you are looking at. All right. Then, as a farmer, now let me give an illustration of a farmer. A farmer who wants to farm, all right, he has a plan to farm. One of the things is he will put in the work, right? He will put in the time, right? And after a while, at the time of harvest, he will harvest and he will be excited at that. All right? Is that also? So that's the same thing you do here. All right? Now, as you're starting small and smart, what it means is that you might not have 1 billion in your account to go purchasing a property. You know, that's what a lot of people, that's why a lot of people don't go deeply into real estate, because they have this thought that real estate is for the wealthy. Actually, real estate is for the wealthy. But that does not mean that if you don't have little, you can't go into it. No, you can go into it with that little amount in your hands. But you have to have the mind of somebody who is building. Are you getting it? So, by starting small and smart, what I mean is, the first thing you need to do is, you first of all change your mindset. After which, you need to educate yourself. Yes, there are 2 basic things you need to do for you to start building wealth in real estate. 2 basic things. One of the things is your mindset needs to change about money. Yes, you need to start thinking like a CEO. You need to have a CEO mindset. You need to start thinking about building a system. You need to start thinking about building a team, because by a team you achieve more. All right? Then the second thing you need to do is you need to educate yourself about real estate. If you want to venture into that industry, you need to educate yourself. You need to go sit down, learn, read books on real estate, and be strong, be knowledgeable, be valuable. Are you with me, somebody? So after those 2 things, you now start small. An example of starting small is land banking. Land banking. What is land banking? Land banking is you putting money into a property and allowing it to appreciate after a period of time. All right. So you can go for properties that are not that expensive. All right. There are properties out there of 2 million, 1.5 million. You go for those properties, you buy, leave it for a period of time, and before you need to, you sell. And by just that doing, you make your money. So you getting it? Yeah. And guess what? As you go on educating yourself, you will find out that there's also another thing you can do to even make more money, and that's OPM. So, in educating yourself, you will find out what is OPM. That's other people's money. Do you know that it is 100% possible for you to make serious wealth with other people's money? Yes, very possible. But before you achieve that, like I said, you must be knowledgeable. You must. If you are able to meet people and give them value, give them evidence, track records, how you can multiply their, let's say, how you can multiply their 200 million, all right? How you can multiply their 200 million into 1 billion. If you're able to achieve this, you make more money. That's it. So you can use other people's money and make serious wealth. Listen to me. Let me tell you something shocking. The wealthy make more money with other people's money. That's shocking. Yes. So actually, the truth is, in real estate, you don't need money to make money. What you need is knowledge and value. The more you give knowledge and value to someone who wants to multiply his money, he entrusts you with that money and makes more money. And you too, as a result, also get a little money from it. And that's it. That's you building. All right? So you must know or learn how to start small and what? Start smart. So one of the things you also need to know is that you need to be consistent. All right? You need to be consistent in that. Let's say you start with buying a property of let's say you start with buying a property of 1.5 million, and after a year or two, you sell it at 5 million. All right, you don't stop there. You continue again. You are able to get OPM. All right, you're able to get OPM. Let's say an OPM of what, over 20 million. All right, and you are able to multiply this in a period of time to, let's say, um, to 50 million. All right. So what it means is that you've been able to make 30 million for this person, and at the long run, let's say your resultant profit is how much now? 10 million. So with this little stuff, you have made over 5M plus 10M. That's over 15M, right? Then you continue like that also gradually to make 15, 20 to you make your first 100 million. That's it. All right. So you must start small. So let's break it down again. 7 steps on how to break out of poverty. First of all, your mindset is vital, very important. If you can think about it, if you can see it, you can have it. Secondly, educate yourself. All right. Educate yourself on that particular field. That's here we're talking on real estate. Educate yourself on real estate. Then replacing consumer habit with investor habit. One of the things about the wealthy is that they are frugal. Yes, they are conscientious about the things they get. All right, they don't just. In fact, they do budgeting. So one of the things you need to be attuned with is you need to be frugal and you need to know what I call budgeting. Yes, budgeting. You need to know how to budget. Another aspect is you need to save. You need to know how to save, and you need to know how to invest. There's something about the wealthy is the wealthy always invests. He always invests. Yes. And guess what? If you want to end up being wealthy, you need to invest also. Fourthly, developing a high income skill. Then fifthly, you need to surround yourself with people of like minds, people that think like you. All right? Then you need to think long term. Then lastly, you need to start small and smart. Very important. And by doing that, I am so sure that gradually you're going to what? Build wealth. Yes, you're going to build wealth for yourself and for the next generation, for you. And guess what? You will be one of the most happiest person on earth after achieving that. I remain the Right Honorable Scientist Okigwe Ejikeme Ben, the realtor that knows how your investments can be multiplied. All right. So still stick to this platform, all right, we're going to be discussing in our next section. I'm going to go deeper on real estate. I'm going to go deeper on some opportunities you can take advantage of. Yes, as a little starter. You mean as a person who is just starting? There are a lot of opportunities I'm going to talk about where you can start. Yes, starting even with that 10,000 in your hand, with that 1 million, that 10 million in your hand. Yes, you can multiply that cash in your hand. Real estate is an industry where you can soar. Yes, you can soar with it when you are consistent. Yes, you need to build integrity and be consistent in that. By doing that, you're going to achieve every of those things. And guess what? Your biggest dream is going to be achieved. Yes, but it must start from somewhere. All right? So I'm going to be ending this class here. And in our next class, I'm going to be talking on something very interesting. Come on, stick to this space. All right? All of you who have been coming, come on, be steadfast, be steadfast, be steadfast, be continuous. All right. All of you also who have been following us online, please be also consistent with us. All right. A lot of things are going to be opening up. All right. On this platform, one of the things we do is we share value. Yes, we share value that will multiply your funds. Very, very expedient. All right. In fact, in our next class, I'm going to be talking on how you can start now without money. Yes, yes, without money. That's amazing. Yes, in fact, you're going to be using other people's money in our next section. All right. So thank you, and see you in our next section. I love you all. Thank you for staying to this time, and see you guys. Remember, think high paying skill, think real estate, and together, let's build wealth. All right, I'm going to make this approach, all right, to some people out there, and you are out there, you are passionate about building wealth, all right, and you need someone to mentor you. You need someone who can help you move from this state of financial struggle that you are in into a higher pay income. Into a higher pay income. Now, listen to me. I'm going to help you do that. So, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to give an open check, yes, to just 20%. I just want to mentor 20% out there. And let's make your first 10 million in the next 6 months. Yes. So an open check for just 20%. Yes. Who are passionate about real estate. Yes, I have passion for real estate. I have a lot of estate out there. And I want you to be part of me. Part of what we are doing. All right. Just 20 of you. If you are that person who wants to venture into that, come on. Contact us. And we're going to work together. All right. We're going to work together. And it's going to be so much amazing. And all of you out there, just stick to this. Follow. And at the long run, you will be celebrated. All right? So, see you guys in our next class. And love you. And I think we are done for today. I hope have you written it? Have you taken it? Okay, so let's leave that for that. See you. My guy, how far?